What's up, guys? My name is Zion Jervis. I want to start this new weekly Devo called Taking the Stairs. When I say taking the stairs, you're probably like, what does that mean? Well, I have 3 reasons for what it means. First off, Jesus is literally our stairway into heaven. We cannot get to heaven without accepting Him and following Him. Second off, in life in general, we can either choose to take the hard way or take the easy way, and that applies directly to me. With football, I can't just mess around in the weight room and on the field and in the film room and expect to have great results. That would be taking the elevator. I have to take the stairs and grind in the weight room, push myself in the field, and take those mental reps in the film room so I can be the best that I can be. In our Christian walk, God calls us to take the harder route, take the stairs, and I feel like a lot of people lately are prone to take the elevator. Even myself is prone to take the elevator. And I just feel that that's not how God calls us, He calls us to a deeper faith, a deeper walk with Him. And that requires, taking the stairs, taking the harder way, going through trials, going through tests, and prevailing. James talks about the testing of our faith produces endurance. So with that being said, let's take the stairs. We'll start out in John 3:16, a passage I'm sure many of you have seen on social media, but do you truly know what it means? Do you know what it means that Christ came, died, and rose 3 days later, and then ascended into heaven at the right hand of God? Let's look at what John 3:16 says. For God loved the world in this way. He gave His one and only Son, so that everyone who believes in Him will not perish, but have eternal life. When I look at this, it really hits me that I was dead in my sin and lived in the passions, whether that be, how we talk, how we look at other people, just how we go through our daily life, what we listen to. But God, through His grace, which is us receiving something that we did not deserve, sent His Son, who lived, died, and rose 3 days later, and then, like I said, ascended into heaven, so that we, through our own faith, through our faith, trusting in Jesus Christ, we could be saved. And that's just amazing. Just the way that God cares for us, the way that He loves us is just shown just through this one verse. You have the whole Bible talking about what God has done for us and what He will do for us and His promises, but just this one verse, it shows us so much about His love, that He would give up His own Son. Could you imagine? I know that we're all young, but could you imagine giving up your own Son for others, for sinners, for people that hurt you, went against you? That thought to me is just insane. But let me leave you with this. God has saved us from our sin, justification. He is continually saving us from the power of sin, sanctification, and will one day save us from the presence of sin once and for all, which is glorification. Thanks for tuning in.